This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How was Babylon become a desolation among the nations? This video is going to go into how Saudi Arabia and Iran, who have been enemies for centuries due to their beliefs in the Islam sector, are now wanting to tear down a partition amongst one another and now to cohabitate with one another and take back the Middle East. And with that being said, in addition, they want to get away from the American dollar, the petrodollar at that, and also China is also going to reconcile with them due to their international relations financially. But before I proceed, I would like to give all the honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, YAHAWASHI, Bahasham, RAWACHAA, QADASH. Double honors to my elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Single honors to the elect. Peace and blessings to the 1/3 and to the confusion of faces in the four corners of the earth. Shalom.
In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Iran are two major countries in the region, and both national authorities practice Islam, but belong to different sections. Islam in Saudi Arabia belongs to the Sunni sect, while Islam in Iran belongs to the Shia section. The two sects have been in feud since ancient times, creating mutual hatred and distrust. Hello everyone, welcome to Deep In Moments. Both countries have great influence in the Middle East region, which has led to conflicts and contradictions between the two countries, resulting in the announcement of the break of diplomatic relations between the two Islamic powers in the Middle East some years ago, which is very unfavorable to the peace and stability of the Middle East region. But what was not expected was that under the mediation of China, the two countries finally walked in once again to announce the restoration of normal national diplomatic relations, which is called to help the peace and stability of the Middle East region. And this restoration of diplomatic relations is completely let the United States lose control of the Middle East. The most direct impact of the resumption of diplomatic relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran is to rewrite the political landscape of the Middle East, and thus pry the petrodollar-based U.S. financial hegemony system. In addition, as Saudi Arabia and Iran will join the SCO, and China signed the RMB settlement agreement is only a matter of time, coupled with the promotion of the Belt and Road.
I have a wee bit of information here for you so you can understand what those acronyms were. The SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is a Eurasian Political, Economic, International Security and Defense Organization. All right? And who wants to be a part of that? Iran and Saudi Arabia. The founders of it was founded in 2001, China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. Okay, now let's segue over onto what is the RMB settlement. RMB pre-settlement remittance is a service provided by Bank of China for individuals who wish to remit Chinese yuan, also known as renminbi, which is RMB. The remittance is payable in THB USD and received by the payee in RMB based on the prevailing exchange rate. So in other words, the money you have, if you want to, we're trying to allow you to exchange it so that you can use our money. So if you have dollars, you can convert it over to the yuan. And later on in the video, you're gonna hear how countries who are debtors are pretty much selling off their debt that they have from America. Okay, this is really racking up, man. America, the mystery of Babylon, is really falling. Remember, BRICS, it's an acronym: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That's pretty much their own IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund. They want to have their own international banking system. All right, all these CBDCs, there's central bank digital currency and all of that. That's them trying to rival against the BRICS. And don't forget, you also got the SWIFT. There's a lot going on right now in the world where they're being divided, and a lot of allies of America, the mystery of Babylon, are starting to not want to befriend her anymore. I just saw a video where Germany said, listen, we're not the 51st state, all right, so you need to take these sanctions off Russia. Why? It just came out that Biden was the reason why the Nord Stream pipeline was exploded. Come on, man. Let's go.
The world is waiting for the sky to change. The most unhappy about this matter is the United States, however. The United States again, how anxious fire also cannot do anything. On the
Obadiah 1:6. How art the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. This is happening right now. This is prophecy in the making. Esau, the so-called white man, Ishmaelites, which would be the Saudi Arabians, the Iranians would be the Persians, also known as the Edomites in the Bible, and the Chinese will also be known as Moab, the Moabites. Continuing. And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. And even in layman terms in the hood, we'll say, yo, man, I got much bread. You know, I'm trying to feed the whole block, meaning that they got money, right? There is none understanding in him. There's no understanding in you, especially with America being an import country. What do you export to other countries? What do other countries need you for? You back your petrodollar by your military and your sanctions and by invading other countries. And the other nations are getting fed up. Going back to the beast starting to hate the whore. The whore is mystery whore Babylon. Okay?
On the one hand, Saudi Arabia is a traditional ally of the United States. The past Trump administration and Saudi Arabia fell out. Biden has been in power for so long, still did not restore the relationship between the two countries. Pressure on Saudi Arabia will only force the latter to embrace China. On the other hand, the U.S. sanctions against Iran have reached the point of no return. In addition to waging war, the United States no longer has a proven means to pressure Iran. Saudi Arabia is the largest oil producer in the Middle East, and a core member of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, which dominates the price of the international oil market. This is the only reason why Saudi Arabia has become an ally of the United States and has an important role to play in defending the petrodollar. Iran, on the other hand, was also pro-American, but an Islamic revolution not only turned it into a secular state, but also became an enemy of the United States, and there was a major incident of hijacking U.S. embassy diplomats. As the Federal Reserve continues to raise interest rates, the dollar is becoming less and less attractive in the international community. According to a report from the U.S. Treasury Department in mid-February this year, the report showed that last year, Japan and China, the two largest debtors of the United States, sold $224.5 billion and $173.2 billion of U.S. debt, and the two countries reduced their holdings to a total of $397.7 billion. As of December 2022, global central banks have maintained their holdings of U.S. debt for 14 consecutive months. In addition to the move to reduce U.S. debt, many countries have reduced their use of the U.S. dollar and looked to the yuan.
Man, oh man, oh man. YAHAWASHI. So, with that being said, there's a lot more I can go into, but I want to just give you the creme de la creme of this video. And I will also leave the link of the video that I used in my video in the description box. But I want to leave you on this note because they already countries are selling off their debt. In other words, we won't really have any more ties to you, America. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? Yeah, remember what it said earlier in the video? It said that Saudi Arabia was backing the United States because of the petrodollar, but now they want to get from under it. All right. How long? And to him that layeth himself with thick clay. But you go into the word clay in the Blue Letter Bible, the Hebrew word there is ibadia, which is what? Someone with heavy debt. Let that sink in. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. Hey, whether they're here or forbid, they know that the prophet was amongst them. So with that being said, I pray that y'all will edify and fed. Stay in the spirit. Don't fear it. Just endure it. Ask for forgiveness. Pray without ceasing. Stay humble. Remain diligent. Come, MashaAllah. Shalom.